Welcome to the Demystify Technology podcast from the MacLaurin Group.
Typically, you go through the due diligence process. What the world of private equity
Right. Can't wait. Demystify it.
We welcome Kristina Heinze of ParkerGale onto the show. Our hosts, Jim and Kelley, talk with Kristina as she offers insight into how she selects founders to invest in.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm excited to be here.
For the few people out there who do not know who Kristina Heinze is, she's a founding partner with ParkerGale and was just named Most Influential Woman of 2019 Middle Market M&A by Merger and Acquisitions magazine. So congratulations to that.
Thank you.
This is so much better than what we normally have. It's me and Alan. So thank you for taking the time and coming to talk to these folks. I know many of them are interested in what the world of private equity holds for them if they decide to go that route. So maybe we could start off by just, if you wouldn't mind, just giving us a little background on ParkerGale and how you stepped into that.
Sure. So, thank you for having me. I'm excited to be here today. So, ParkerGale, myself and three co-founders started the firm about 5.5 years ago after working together for a number of years at another private equity firm in Chicago. We were the technology team within a broader sector-focused group. So we had been doing this for a while, buying small, founder-owned, profitable technology companies. And we thought we were getting pretty good at it. So we liked working with each other and said, you know what? We have a vision for how we could do this even better. And let's do this together. So there was no plan B. It was like, this is what we're doing. We had 7 portfolio companies at the time, took them with us, so continued to manage those. Raised our first fund, which was $240 million in 2015, invested that in 7 companies over the next handful of years. And then last year in November, raised our second fund, which is $375 million fund. And we have made 2 investments out of that so far this year. So we are very active. My role specifically is to convince founders, so like the guys and gals that we're going to meet here today, why are we the best partner for them? So there's a lot of private equity firms out there, and we need to convince them that we are the right partner, not just because we have a checkbook and we can provide capital, but we have a lot of resources. We built our team specifically for founder-owned technology companies. And I think we'll get into that in a little bit, but basically like not just our investing team, but our operating resources and the folks that we've brought in, specialists in certain areas like sales and marketing, product roadmap, dev, ops, talent, which is huge. So we built our team so that we could help founders and their teams take their businesses from a founder-owned business to an enterprise-level organization. And we're having fun.
Well, we just started out the right way, so I know that there are folks that you're not always the highest bidder. Why you?
So yes, this is funny. So I get asked this all the time. So we just finished raising our second fund late last year, so still somewhat fresh in my mind. Every single meeting with investors, they would ask that exact question. There's so many of you out there, valuations are crazy, any founder can find a buyer, et cetera, et cetera. So if you're not paying the highest price all the time, why are they choosing you? And I would say this every single time, because we're not assholes.
I know that for ParkerGale, a big part of their investment philosophy is you invest in products and cultures, products that matter and cultures that last. And so much of that, of a culture that lasts in a founder-led organization, is based on that founder. How do you go about assessing that before you invest in an organization?
We feel like because of the last 20 years of what we've done, you see pattern recognition in these founder-owned businesses, right? And there are certain functional areas where you see it time and time again that there hasn't been the investment. And that's because the founder, he or she typically is trying to do everything, right? They had a problem that they saw or a need that they saw, created the solution for that, and obviously created something that had a great product market fit because their business is growing. But then to try to do everything, we call them the chief worry officer. So we, over our years, saw, okay, sales and marketing, that's an area where, we can come in and provide help. Product development, product roadmap, because a lot of times you get the product, it's working, it's growing, so, okay, that's good, let me go focus on something else, as opposed to, hey, I got to make sure I'm staying, ahead of the competition, right? Ahead of those ankle biters that are coming, or VC money's going in, and new competitors are, cropping up everywhere, so making sure that you're adding what the market needs, right? Keeping your customers happy. And then talent, which is huge for us. We have 2 operating resources, 2 principles that focus only on talent. So, from professional development, culture engagement. We even own a software business that does nothing but culture. It's called Culture IQ. So focused on all of that, we can provide all of that for these founders. And, again, that's different than just coming in and saying, hey, I can, write you a check.
So let's unpack that, because you said a lot in that,
did.
right? So
I always
I want to make sure the key. I know. So when you think about not having made the investment, you all came out of a technology team of a larger company, and so you probably have a very similar experience as I do, coming from technology, where founders that are looking for MacLaurin to either take them on as a client or to invest, they forget about their story and make it about the technology. My response is, well, we help to be able to take and create large enterprise fault-tolerant systems for growth very quickly in 3 months. We might even be the one who helps, another company be your competitor. So that's your runway in 3 months. So if it's all about technology, people are shocked to know that it's not what excites me.
Right.
It's the founder behind the technology. So when you describe kind of your culture and what you're looking at, what is the most important part of the founder?
Yeah. So, and the founder has written their story. By the time we are meeting with them, right? So they've, or at least have, half the chapters written. So I want to hear from the very beginning, what was that problem that you recognized? Sometimes we'll meet founders who they were in the end market. They were a practitioner in the end market, and they needed something, couldn't find it, and they created the software or technology solution to fix their own problem. And then they were like, oh, wait a minute, this could actually be sold. There's a market for it. So we want to know, what was the impetus? What was that fire in your belly to start whatever it is that you started? Okay, then, yes, how did you build your business? People. How did you bring on your people? What is the culture like? Customers. How do you treat your customers? That is, to us, huge. It's not just about the product itself. That can be diligenced. All those things are pretty, not black and white, but you can say, yep, okay, they have this or they don't, or so on and so forth. But with customers, do you have a customer success function? What are your customers saying about you? What are your retention rates, right? What are your NPS scores? So do they think about their business in that way, or is it just a product or just a technology? I want to see someone who, again, it's their baby. Like this, my employees are just as important as my customers, etc.
It's not a check. I'm not wanting you just to write a check. And I know that one of the things that I've personally benefited from and appreciate as a partner of yours is what you bring.
That's important information that a founder needs to understand. Now, for those founders who are listening today who are considering venturing forth in the world of private equity investment, they may find themselves sitting across the table from you. I wish them the best of luck. They're going to need it. What do you expect them to bring to the table for that conversation? How do they prepare themselves to sit across the table from you?
And to build on that too, Kristina, I'd love to hear, are there things that you'd recommend that you hear founders saying, gosh, I wish I could have done that differently before this moment?
So we may be a bit unique in that because we have invested in our own operating team, even though we're not day-to-day operators, and we never will be and don't want to be, but because we are only buying from founders, knowing that we can help them in these functions, we've invested, so we're not scared. Us. Now, other firms like things a little bit easier and less bumps in the road, and that's fine. We look at it as an opportunity, but to a degree, right? I mean, there has to be, right.
Yes.
But we love it when the founder is saying to us, I need help with sales and marketing. Like, I've grown through word of mouth. I'm the head of sales, and so, hey, what can you help us with on building out a lead gen program or hiring a sales force, bringing in a chief revenue officer, and so on. We love it when they say, yeah, we have great ideas for product. And again, it's the business is running, it's growing, but I don't know where I need to be in 12 months. I don't know where I need to be in 24 months. That to us is very typical. First of all, it's not abnormal. And we can come in, we call them summits. Okay, so ParkerGale brings right now we have 8 companies. So we bring all of our heads of sales and heads of marketing. 2 weeks ago, we had our sales and marketing summit, right? So they're all together 2 days. We bring in guest speakers. You have learning sessions. We have dinners and stuff. So they get to know each other too, right? Use each other as a sounding board, because chances are one of them is having the same issue as the other, right? We do the same thing on product with our chief product officers, product managers, chief technology officers. So having these summits as a resource, and then having folks like Kelley and Alan that we've known for years and years, because it's true. We say, okay, we need to add mobile.
That means a lot coming from you.
All right. This is a family show. We got to back it up.
Yeah, exactly. Alan's going to listen to this, and now he's going to hear all of that from Kristina.
Don't believe any of it.
And they love it. We can come in and we can bring these partners that we've worked with for years and years and say, okay, we can get this done in a short time frame, because that's what you need to do to stay ahead, again, of the competition. And, how do you play to win and all that kind of stuff.
Well, and I love that. And that's what makes one of the aspects of MacLaurin, for me, that's personally so rewarding, is that it truly is being able to, in the same way that in past ventures we've been successful together,
Yep.
of bringing in folks that can help you very quickly.
Exactly.
And it's a fun moment when the founders realize, wait, they don't want my job.
No.
They really are. Kristina did pick up a phone. She is surrounding me with support. This is going to be some amazing things we're going to do together very quickly.
Yep.
A lot of energy. We move fast, right? She's here for 23 hours, I said. So, it's, but that's fun, because otherwise, one, you don't want us around all the time. You don't want to afford that, but you also don't need that. That's the kind of getting you kick-started.
Right.
But when you think about the due diligence side, when you're first looking at the company, I think one of the things, as you talked about, not being scared, but there's also the point that's really important about being candid and transparent. So talk to me about that.
Yes. That was one of the tenets when we decided to start ParkerGale, was in private equity especially, it's like the man or the woman behind the curtain, and like not a lot of transparency of what goes on. And to us, our view was, why not? Let's make it transparent. And if we're really good at what we do, A, founders are still going to pick us, and B, we shouldn't have to worry about our competitors, because again, we're good at what we do and hopefully always improving. So we set out to be transparent with the whole ecosystem, right? Not just each other and our investors, our management teams, the founders, our relationships where we work together, everyone. And that's what we tell founders from the initial dinner or meeting or coffee. It's like, look, you might have some tech debt, that's like, buzzword or whatever. You haven't necessarily maybe done the investing that you should have on product or whatever. That's totally fine. Doesn't scare me. But let's just talk about it. Let's be open and honest, because I bet I can help you. And I bet we can get where we need to be together. But I don't want to find that out 6 months from now. When...
Or even 30 days in.
Or 30 days in.
Before the transaction.
Exactly. So, yeah, transparency is key all around. So, clearly there's the straightforward ones that are more like check the box, like, are your financials clean, right? I mean, because accountants are going to go in and start digging into everything. So, having someone, even if it's an outside accountant, right, that you don't have to have a CFO on staff or VP of finance or something, but having someone obviously do your financials so that all of that is clean and transparent, that's a given. I think on the tech side, back to the tech debt, or the IP side, we've had situations where the founder thinks that everything is clean and buttoned up, right? But we obviously do a lot of legal diligence work on who owns the IP, and we've had situations where they didn't even know that, because of consultants, they thought that right, exactly. It was not exactly. It was no malintent. It was just, wow, I didn't even know. Oh my goodness, So I think just having all of those things buttoned up.
Helping navigate that before a transaction, that doesn't scare you away.
No.
You'll help them with
exactly.
that.
We'll help them. Actually, our most recent deal, we had a very similar situation, and it took a few extra months because we had to work through to get that. But yes, exactly.
Right.
Yeah, I think the other thing would be, if they have not, he or she has not hired anyone around them, they're literally doing everything. That's tough, right? Because we're coming in and it's like, okay, we are always helpful in adding, C-level positions, VP level, all that kind of stuff. But if there's literally one person, the founder, is doing everything, that's really hard. Plus, it just makes their life harder, right? So, do yourself a favor and, get one person at least. That could be a sounding board to you, and that makes things a little bit easier. We will simultaneously help transition them into a board role, or some we call it vice chairman, or this, whatever title and role is comfortable for them and us, but it's not going to be typically a day-to-day CEO role, because they're ready to say, okay, I've taken it from here to here. I still want to be involved and I still want to own a piece. So we'll buy majority interest, but we love it when founders want to roll some because they still see the upside, right? So we'll work together with the founder in putting in a CEO, or again, the CFO, or whatever it is that we need to help hire. So it is still interesting, even from a board perspective, because they've had no one to report to. So it's a learning experience. We do a lot with onboarding. So we have a whole plan and process in place where it's down to okay, within 14 days of closing, we have the founder and the executive management team in our offices. We go through everything that we learned in due diligence. Literally, you go through the market diligence report, what you learned, so the competitive landscape. We go through the product report, sales and marketing, everything. So it's like a full day. And we onboard with them, let them ask questions. So it's like, hey, this is all that we've learned over the last 3 months or whatever. And they feel still collaborative on, okay, because what comes out of that? Another 15 days later, we have a planning session for what is the next, 120 days going to look like, 365 days. So there's all these steps in place so that it's not, hey, here's what you have to do. And it's very collaborative, because no one wins if we're trying to tell them what to do, and it's just that doesn't work.
Because you want the founder that's proud of their baby.
Absolutely, yeah. And with us, Kelley knows this, but it's like what you see is what you get, and we want the same from founders. And so, yeah, it's a very back and forth relationship from the very beginning to the end. That's one of the other things I think that helps set us apart from early on in processes, or if it's a direct that I've found a founder or one of my partners has, we tell them, call the other founders. Here's 20 guys, or guys and gals now, thankfully. Call them and ask what it's been like working with us. We do
the same thing. Maybe you don't want to work with us, right?
Hopefully, yeah. Yeah. Hopefully I haven't had that.
We require. And I think, because one of the things is looking for a founder is that you're willing to put in the same amount of blood, sweat, tears, energy, finances, investment.
Right.
One of the things that I've been very fortunate in every single transaction I've been a part of is to reinvest. Right?
Yes.
Not take that windfall, but reinvest has been the by far right decision every single time.
Yeah.
And so that's part of it with a founder as they're talking to folks and they're getting advice. It's like, okay, well, are you willing to write a check? Because you believe in it so strongly that is the best return for your investment of $1 that you could spend. And for me, if it's not about, if I can't say yes to that, then, you know.
Oh, exactly. I mean, that's a head scratcher, right? I mean, that's tough. If the founder was saying, oh yeah, I want to 100% cash out, I'd be like, well, what do you know that I don't? You know, how do you know, right? And
when I know that, wait, I'm in control of my destiny.
Yeah.
Put it in. Yeah.
Speaking of destiny, your 23 hours has been clandestine, and every single minute of that has been scheduled. And I know there's a group of people waiting for you in the room next door that Kelley has invited over for a quick conversation.
And they are waiting to see her.
They really don't want to see me. So given that, let's go ahead and wrap this up. I really want to thank you for your time today. For the next 22 hours, you'll be on the books with us. So thank you and have a lovely day.
Yes, thanks, Kristina.
This is great. I love it.